Alright, what's going on, guys? It is time for our weekly recap. We got a couple stories for today, but let me quickly just mention this one. I'm not going to get too far into it, but it was a pretty big story that happened a few days ago. So y'all probably saw that huge Bitcoin scam on Twitter where a bunch of huge verified accounts all got hacked at the exact same time, and they all tweeted out this same message about how you can double your money by sending them some Bitcoin or whatever, you know what I mean? Which should have been a pretty obvious scam to everyone that has the correct amount of chromosomes, but you can actually check how much money was sent to a Bitcoin address, and it's reported based off that these hackers actually made over $100,000 off of this. Now that's pretty insane, because do you realize how big of a moron you gotta be to fall for something like that? You're so stupid that I feel like the government needs to track these people down. More importantly than the hackers, I don't even care about them. I want to track down the people who actually gave money to them, and they need to be legally classified as handicapped or something, maybe take some of their rights away. I don't think these people should vote or even drive. Honestly, I wouldn't feel safe on the roads next to them, because clearly there's something not right up there in their brain, you know what I mean? They're not fully functioning, and I just really don't feel safe around them. So anyways, I just wanted to mention that because it was so insane to me that someone could be so stupid as to actually fall for that. But here we are. Let's move on to our main story of the day. I did also actually want to briefly talk about that Girl Gamer video game trailer that was released. Y'all probably saw that. It was going kind of viral on Twitter and stuff. But now there's some huge controversy with it, and they actually deleted the trailer because all of the negative backlash around it, which I understand. It was a pretty weird video. It was, some serial killer, stalker, simp vibes going on. Pretty weird. But at the same time, I think that's what would have made it a hilarious game to stream. So I don't know if they canceled that game now and it's not coming out anymore or what's going on, but I did want to say if that game does come out, I will definitely play that on stream. I think it would be really funny. So I just wanted to get that out there. But like I said, let's talk about our main story of the day. This one actually comes from Reddit. My minor child spent almost $20K using a debit card on subscriptions and donations, cleaning out my bank accounts without my knowledge or permission. Years of savings gone in 17 days. No response from customer service in over 2 weeks. No response to certified mail to CEO or Amazon Legal. Does anyone know if I can get this money back or how to get a response? So we do see stories like this from time to time. I think it's more of a meme than it actually happens in real life, but my thought whenever I see something like this is always how does this even happen, right? Because this sure as fuck wouldn't have happened in my house, right? I don't have any kids, but if I did, they wouldn't be doing this. And, thinking back to myself as a kid, there's a 0% chance I would have even thought of doing something like this, you know what I mean? So I just have to wonder, what went wrong that allowed this to happen? Now, the good thing about this story is we actually have some answers to these questions. So the number one most important question, of course, who did this young man donate to? We got to make sure we don't have a simp on our hands. So the parent, I think it's actually the mom, maybe it's the dad, I'm not sure, but she actually responded to a lot of questions that people had in that thread. She actually goes into detail on who the streamers were, and it was 5 of them. So it was Tfue, Ewok, Gorb, Kurt Benkert, and Myers Leonard. Okay, so 4 out of 5 male. The simp ratio is low at least. But then we have 3 Fortnite streamers and 2 professional athletes. I can't believe Myers Leonard is on the list because that's a quality NBA player. He gets good minutes. He's on a $40 million contract. Out of all people, you emptied out your parents' bank account to give to a guy who's making $40 million. Come on, man. Is this kid maybe a little special needs or something, Maybe a little off mentally. I don't know. It wasn't stated or anything, confusing, but I think it would make a lot more sense if there was something wrong with the kid, but I don't know. The next question is, how exactly did he get access to these funds, right? Did he just steal his mom's credit card out of her purse? Like, what happened? Well, actually, it's pretty simple. It turns out she gave him his own debit card that was linked to her bank account with no limits, no sort of parental controls or anything on it. She just said, hey, here you go. You know, I see you're a young 13-year-old Fortnite enthusiast. Why don't you just go ahead and have full access to my savings account? You know, no big deal. I'm sure you'll be responsible with it. That seems like a pretty good idea, right? Like, no way that ends up badly. Like, no way he just empties the whole thing in 17 days. That would be crazy, right? I don't know. Now, the justification for why she gave him the card is even worse, okay? Because apparently he had to have one in order to pay for school lunches. Now, I find this pretty hard to believe, right? I find it hard to believe that he was forced to have a debit card in order to eat lunch at school. Apparently, this school just forced every single child to have a debit card. That seems pretty unlikely, right? I think you probably could have paid for lunch in a couple other ways. Number one, cash, of course. That's accepted everywhere, pretty much. And number two, the way that it worked when I was in school. Now, I will say, you know, I'm an old man, so maybe it don't work like this no more. But back then, usually the way that it would work is you would have like an account, and your parents would fund the account with money. And then when you go to lunch, you would just, you know, use your school ID, and they would just take the money out of the account. So you don't need a card or anything like that. That's how it worked. I don't know if they do that anymore. Maybe y'all can verify in the comments if they still do that or not. But that's how it worked when I was in school. But based off of this, it kind of seems to me that this young man might have pulled off a finesse a little bit. Like, he told them, you know, like, hey, mom and dad, or I need my own debit card or else I won't be able to eat lunch at school. I'm just going to be starving. You guys have to let me get a card. And they were just like, okay, here you go, son. You know, here's a debit card with all of our life savings on it. Be sure to use it responsibly. Like, yeah, pretty poor overall decision making from the parents in this situation. But don't get me wrong. This kid is definitely old enough to know better than doing something like this. You know what I mean? If the kid was like, I don't know, 7 years old, 8 years old or something, like really young, okay, I get it. Then, you know, I would fully blame it on the parents. But I would have never dreamed of doing something like this. Like, I know I would have been dead. I wouldn't be making this video right now. My parents might have actually killed me had I done that, right? So, I just don't know, man. Some people are just built different, I guess, man. Like, they just, their brains, they just ain't all there, man. I think that's what it comes down to. Now, as far as getting your money back, I think your best option would just to be to contact the streamers directly. I feel like all of them would probably be willing to just refund your donations. So you could probably at least get that money back like right away. And as far as any subs or bits, like that goes through like Twitch and Amazon and all that. So I would say you probably have to go through the bank for that. But speaking of the bank, right? Another thing I don't understand, right? I don't understand how your kid is just blowing through your whole bank account over the course of 17 days and you don't check your account one time. You don't notice. The bank didn't like alert you like, hey, there's some suspicious activity on your account. All your money's being used up. Like, you know, here was some weird purchases, like nothing. You know, you didn't get an alert on your phone. You didn't check your email. You didn't log into the bank account. You're just like, all of this just happened to go unnoticed for over 2 weeks. Like, I just don't know what you were doing. Like, you got to just pay attention. This is just crazy. Especially when you know that you have a 13-year-old who has full access to your funds and apparently has no respect for you and decided to just use them all. So, like, I just don't understand how there was no monitoring going on, and even before that, precautions should have been taken. There should have been a limit, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how we use the money so quick. Like, I have a limit on my account. Like, you can't just use my whole account in one day. You know, there's like a limit. You gotta like call and increase the limit if you want to try to use more money. Like, I don't know how this happened. It seems like you were pretty irresponsible here, regardless of, you know, how poor of a decision your child made. But anyways, that's pretty much it for the video. You know, in case you were curious on how these things actually happen like I was, now we know, you know, now we know. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, rating if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not already, follow me on Twitter, links in the description down below. Other than that, have a good day and peace out.